in 1927 in the Life magazine was called the unofficial president of the United States. This was a man who had the ear and the laughter of many of the great world figures. He was a man with whom so many had a very special relationship. He was a humorist, a politician, but most of all, he was an American. No one else ever had the kind of hold on the public that Will Rogers had. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, it is our pleasure to present Kalamazoo's own Bob Rollins as Will Rogers himself.
You know, folks, I always have trouble knowing how to start my talk, and there have been those that have suggested it was not entirely necessary to do so, you know. So for goodness sake, folks, we're all here, we might as well have a go. I was born in Indian Territory, in what is now known as Oklahoma, and my father was a 3H Cherokee Indian, and my mother was a quarter blood Cherokee, and I never got far enough in arithmetic to figure out just how much Indian that makes me, but boy, I tell you, there's nothing in my life I'm prouder of than my Indian blood. I claim Claremore, Oklahoma as my home, and say, listen, they just finished building a hospital out there in Claremore. They're mighty proud of it. It's the first hospital built special for the Indians in the United States. And let's see now, when was it? Columbus discovered America 400 years ago, and it's taken us 400 years to build the first hospital for the Indians. To say, well, that's the Indians, you got to look forward to the next 400 years. They might even build us a cemetery, you can't never tell. You know, when the government was first sending the Cherokees out there to Oklahoma, they gave them a treaty, I reckon you know. The treaty said, you may have this land as long as the grass grows and the water flows. And it's not only a pretty good rhyme, but it looked like a pretty good treaty. Until they struck oil. And then, of course, while the government took the land back from them again, they said the treaty refers to grass and water. It don't say nothing about oil. And every time the government sent the Indians any place, they always give them that same treaty. I don't know why, but they did. And always said, you may have this land as long as the grass grows and the water flows. Of course, the government saw the whole thing now. They just put the Indian on land where the grass won't grow and the water don't flow, you know. Well, I tell you, if you ever get to thinking you'll be happy, let the government take care of you. Now, you just remember what happened to the American Indian. I mean, you can't blame him for being discouraged. He's the only one that was ever conquered by the United States. He didn't come out ahead. Bigger the government gets, the smaller the people gets. And, well, anyway, I went to school for a little while. I went to school in a little one-room schoolhouse 4 miles east of Chelsea, Oklahoma. And there's nothing but Indian kids in that school. And, I had just enough white blood in me to make my honesty questionable, you know. And then I went to Kemper Military Academy for 2 years. First year in the 4th grade, the second year in the guardhouse. And then just give it up. Just one night, I just give up my whole education business for life, you know. But I don't want, honestly, I don't want any enterprising youth in this audience to think I had the right note on that before I tell you. If there's one thing I've regretted all my life, it's that I never took a chance on the 5th grade. But education's great. Education's great. College is great. But what I think about college is that college is greater for the parents than it is for the kids. You know, because what you do is you take the kids out of the home right when they reach the arguing stage of life. Have you ever noticed that? Have you ever had an 18-year-old stand there and just look at you and say, look at old Dad just standing there? How could he live so long and know so little, you know? Well, what you do is you put him away for 4 years. Of course, when he comes back, he knows you don't know nothing. But, and the cost of college nowadays, my goodness. You know, my boy Jim was home the other day visiting. from college, you know, and he asked me and my wife Betty, he said, is it true that two can live as cheap as one? And I said, why sure, Jim, ever since you went off to college, me and your mother have been living just as cheap as you have. Boy, that has two can live as cheap as two. Two can live as cheap as one, and both of them work, you know. But I suppose part of the cause is our own fault. I mean, we send our kids to school in automobiles now. I ain't noticed it affecting their grades perceptibly, but I think it's the gasoline fumes that does it. Oh, America, I want to alert you to a coming problem that you might not have thought about. What are we going to do in this country now when all them filling stations, you know, where they put the gas in, become obsolete? What are we going to do? Hadn't thought about it, had you? Folks, I just point these things out to you now. You're going to have to work on the solution. I got to start on the problem. Notice the other day I seen down in Texas, I seen a filling station that had been converted into a chili parlor. See? Of course, that wasn't no real conversion because you could still get gas there. I apologize. This is a little bell, baby. You know, folks, all I know is what I read in the papers. I don't make up my little stories. I just tell what happens. And it never fails me. Until this afternoon. So just do whatever you care to, folks. Just try to remain orderly. Where was that about the Congress? Oh, yeah. Congress is deadlocked and cannot act. Boy, there's hope for the country yet, folks. I tell you. Honest to goodness. I always thought about Congress the way I feel about a baby when he gets a hold of a hammer. You just hope he can get it away from him before he does too much damage. Very sad about New York is a thing. Oh yeah, wife shoots husband in New York City. Well, the season's starting early again this year, folks. You know, hardly a day goes by that some innocent bystander ain't shot in New York City. Have you noticed that? All you gotta do is be innocent, stand by in New York and get shot. You see, the other day in the paper there was four innocent people in New York shot one day. Kind of hard to find four innocent people in New York City. You walk 4 blocks in any direction without people seeing them and cry, you know. There's something in here about the taxes. Boy, I tell you, taxpayers revolt being planned. Boy, when you break us down to taxes, we've been yelling for centuries, ain't we, folks? I bet you when the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth Rock and they had the whole American continent in front of them, and you know, all they had to do to get another 160 acres was to shoot another Indian. I bet you they was thinking about the price of ammunition. I bet you they said, what's this country coming with? And they got to pay a nickel for a powder. Of course, they got the lead back when they dissected the Indians, but taxes. Taxes is high. It is high. I mean, who was it? Patrick Henry, if he thought taxation without representation was bad, he ought to say it with representation, you know. What is it, folks? They say that only two sure things is death and taxes. Well, the difference is death don't get worse every time Congress meets. See that? But I suppose we should be. I guess we should be proud, you know, to pay taxes as Americans. But I think I could be just as proud if I had to pay half as much, you know. But here's the thing, folks, here's the thing. Everybody knows, everybody in this afternoon knows that this government is costing us more than it's worth. See, we all know that, see? But the thing is, where can you find a cheaper form floating around anywhere? I mean, if you can, let's say you take it right down there in Washington any day of the week. Now you take Russia, for example. Character, take Russia. They got no income tax in Russia. But they got no income, see? But I was economics. I don't know nothing about this, folks. I just stand out here until girls come back, and I don't know no more about this than the economist does. God knows he don't know. Besides, folks, I think it's about time to wrap up this little clam bake. If you had any laughs at all, I'm very grateful, and I don't give advice, folks, but or if I did, I'd just say you're only on this earth for a very short time, so for heaven's sakes, have a few laughs, and don't take things too seriously, especially yourselves, you know. Just live your life so you wouldn't mind selling the family parrot to the town gossip, you know. Of course, for me, when I finish this lecture tour, I'm going to be looking up there in the sky, by golly. I'm going to fly with Wiley Post to Alaska. I want to see that Alaska. I want to touch base with them Eskimos up there, for one thing. You know, as an Indian, I think I can do some good, you know. Telling that old gag about the grass growing and the water flowing we were talking about. Warn them about the government. Folks all the time saying to me, Will, how do you get away with kidding the politicians like you do? Well, for heaven's sakes, folks, they're mostly friends of mine. If there's no malice in your heart, there can be none in your dash. I suppose if I ever have an epitaph, it should read that I kidded most every prominent man